Well, that was one of the improvements that we're doing to the lighting in the garage, and I had to turn it off so you get a little idea of what it looks like. I didn't have the opportunity to video it, but I did take a bunch of pictures, and there was a little bit of a oops that went on in there that I wanted to talk about, and so we're gonna make a little project video and kind of show you the pictures and a little narration back behind it. Stay tuned. We start out by drilling a hole that's about, I think it's a little bit over an inch with a Forstner bit, and leaving a little bit, not going all the way through, leaving enough material so that a smaller hole can be drilled through, allowing the wire to pass through without contacting the sharp edges of the pipe. The dry fit worked okay, and after mixing the epoxy, I epoxied the pipe into the 1x3, and that's when we started running into a little problem. There was a worry that the epoxy was going to run down and glue it to my surface, so I put a piece of cardboard underneath it, between it, so it wouldn't stick to my surface. Well, what ended up happening was the cardboard was soft enough that by tightening down the clamp, I popped the thin layer, and it ended up being a little bit crooked. I ended up having to sand the excess paper off, and after all that came out, it came out okay. I glued two pieces on either side or either end of the main cross piece, and that had a couple of reasons. One, it gives a little bit of space so that when the cord is brought out, it goes right across the top. There's no pinching of that involved. And the other thing is it gives it enough extra surface area to mount the actual mounting brackets to the end of the fixture. I had to rob from Peter to pay Paul. I needed a piece of metal plate, and I had to take it off of my temporary, almost permanent outfeed table and replace that with a few pieces of wood to hold it together. But it's solid, so we're good. Those Simpson strong tie plates are really good to have around the shop. You can cut them down and use them for all kinds of stuff, for reinforcements and things like that. Like in this case, I cut it to about 3¼ inches, something like that, the width of the 1x3s, and I cut them down with the cutter that's on the Dremel tool. I used a coarse file to deburr them so they wouldn't be sharp when we were working on them. And there's the cutting disc, and okay, it's the Ryobi wannabe Dremel tool. I've had that thing for like a million years and it's still going strong. The metal's pretty hard. I went through 3 of those just to cut those 2 plates. I don't have a vise, but we make do. Those screw clamps clamped down to my workbench held the metal plate very well, and I just beat them over with a hammer and got a nice piece of angle iron out of it. I utilized some 1-inch Kreg screws that I had in my Kreg screw pocket hole kit, and attached it to the end of the assembly, and that is what I will go ahead and attach to the ceiling to hold the whole thing together. With them being self-tapping like that, it worked real well, and no splitting. My fixture was a repurposed pole lamp that the pipe had been cut 13 inches, and I just ran a extension cord that I had that was extra, and just wired it into the socket, screwed it all together, and then we went ahead and mounted it to the ceiling. I had a little trouble finding the rafters, so instead of doing that, I put in 4 plaster anchors and screwed it in with the 4 plaster anchors, and it held it up very well. There it is. It's in between the 2 rails and sits down low, and it clears everything. There's a lot of clearance around where it was at. I ran the cord all the way back, just straight back along the ceiling, holding it up with some cable holder thingies and plugging it into the wall, or into the socket by the wall. That's the light that comes out of it. It's nice and bright and pretty. There's a little bit of shadow and things like that, but all in all, it came out really well. I don't have any other lighting on in that area except for that one bulb, and it's very bright when you have the door closed. When the door is open, it doesn't seem to be as bright, but it does help, and it fills in a lot of the shadows. And as you can see, it works even with the door open. Well, there you have it. The total cost of this project was 0, zip, zilch, nada, nothing, because I had everything laying around, and I like those kind of projects. Hey, if you like what you saw, click the like button for me. I'd appreciate it. If you want to see more of this kind of stuff, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And thanks for watching. Really appreciate it. And I hope you enjoyed it. And until next time, see ya.